Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live here in the city of Memphis, state of Tennessee, in the county Shelby. You know, today's date is early Sunday morning, August the 31st, 2014, and the time is 2:01 a.m. I want to first say thank you to all my fans and my supporters for your continued encouragement and support. And I'll continue to be employed at Ameripride, which is a company here in the city of Memphis, state of Tennessee, in the county Shelby, right there at the corner of Vance Avenue and Walnut Street. And I continue to further my education at Monroe College Online. I'm pursuing my associate's degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. And matter of fact, I'll be starting the fall semester, except September the 8th of this year. Fall semester start at Monroe College. And like I said, fall semester I'll be studying the two classes I'll be studying in the fall semester. I'll be business law. Say fundamentals of business law. Now this book here, I'll be studying business law. And my other class that I'll be studying this fall is business ethics. Business ethics. And this is my book right here. And then another class I'll be having to take, because I got a math requirement for my degree, for my associate degree. I got to raise my math score. I'll be having to take a remedial math class starting this fall. And then after I take that remedial math class, then I take a math class. But the good thing about that remedial math class, no financial aid has to be used or anything like that. So no cost whatsoever. So I'll be glad to take a class that's gonna help you, that you don't have to pay for anything like that. But with my chair right. Thing I wanted to say at the start of this video, we have some events that took place dealing with police excessive force. And we have court cases in the state of New York, city of New York, with Mr. Eric Garner being murdered by a New York police officer. And then we had a police officer being, we had this young man, Michael Brown. He was murdered by a police officer. So that's another court case. So, and thing I want to say on this video that I didn't say last week is that in my last two videos about a court case is that you take an oath of office. You know, attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, the judges, you take an oath of office. All public servants, you understand? Elected officials, they take an oath of office. And the words in those oaths are legal. You understand? You can be brought to court because the words in the oath were not honored. You know, you take an oath off. You swore on you put your hand on the Bible, things of that nature. And but the thing about it is legal. It's a court case. It can be a court case. It can lead to a prosecution. And that's what I wanted to make sure that I mentioned on this video to all those who listen, that the prosecuting attorney is an elected official. Just like the Supreme Court, all your judges, all your elected officials, they're elected officials, they take an oath of office. And you can't be brought to court. You can't be prosecuted because of the oath of office, because you dishonored the oath of office. And when you're dealing with a court case such as this with a police officer, you have to remember that they take an oath of office. They're sworn to duty. You understand? They take an oath. And that's a serious legal infraction that can be, a person be punished for violating the oath that they took. And when we deal with these two court cases, you have a police officer that took an oath. You have these police officers who take an oath of office. And when you violate that oath of office, you violate that oath that you swore to uphold, you can be punished for that. Because as you remember, during former President Clinton, when he was in office, they tried to impeach him about the oath. You understand? And you have a prosecuting attorney, and you have a grand jury. Is a word that they use about the grand jury. They are sworn. You understand? And that's a legal. That's legal action that can be used to prosecute, bring charges against the grand jury for grand jury misconduct. So you have two murder cases in these different states, but you have a state Supreme Court and you have a United States Supreme Court. You understand? Don't take it lightly that these judges and these attorneys, these prosecuting attorneys, take an oath of office, because they can be prosecuted and punished for that. For violating the oath. And we want to make sure that there be justice for Eric Garner. This police officer was videotaped, and this man was saying I can't breathe. This man was being videotaped murdering another human being. And then, we got eyewitnesses in the Mike Brown case. We got eyewitnesses to everything that happened. From from the very beginning all the way to the end. Got eyewitnesses. So, we're going to, each and every day, we're going to continue to work toward justice for the victims. Mr. Eric Garner and Mr. Mike Brown, and for everybody else. And on this video, I wanted to take some time. I also want to say this. Recently, it's been reported in the news that, again, we have some turmoil, in Iraq, Syria, around that area, with the Shiites and the Sunnis, the Muslims, the Shiite Muslims and the Sunni Muslims. And during the Bush administration, there were billions and billions of dollars, United States dollars. And then you had coalition forces from all these different nations around the world that was also fighting against Al Qaeda. And a lot of money and a lot of taxpayer dollars went into that. They captured Saddam Hussein. He was hung by the Iraqi people. All that. When President Obama got elected, got down to the point where the troops was able to leave Iraq, and that the Iraqi forces could be left to deal with their own country. But now it's being reported that the Sunni Muslims and the Shiite Muslims have gotten pretty much overtook the government and calling that area now it's the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And that they've already committed atrocities against other ethnic groups. And they're foreigners, people who are not even from Iraq or Syria. They come from Europe and America. It's been reported in the news that some jihad Joes have already been killed in that area. They've already been killed. And this ISIS group, they kidnapped some Americans and got the nerve to try to use that as a way to stop the United States government from continuing to attack them. And you quit sending them videos over here. Excuse me. You can quit sending them videos over here, and you can rest assured that the United States government will continue to stand. And it's just a matter of time for all the United States Army, United States Air Force, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, and possibly the Guard, the Army National Guard, Air National Guard, Coast Guard, going to be deployed against ISIS and Al Qaeda. And it's already been reported in the news that over $560 million U.S. tax dollars have been spent to fight against ISIS already. So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time for it to be a full-fledged operation against ISIS and against Al Qaeda. Throw in El Shabaab, throw in Boko Haram, the Taliban, anybody else. And that's one thing they don't need to do is to be sitting around thinking you're gonna bribe the U.S. government by kidnapping American citizens. You can forget it. You can get ready for all that war. You can just get ready for all that war. Because there's one thing the American people ain't gonna stand for. The American public is not gonna stand for American citizens being home for any reason. And most certainly ain't gonna be talking about trading American citizens and stop killing our militants. Stop killing our, you can forget it. You can forget it. They need, the American military need to kill the Sunni Muslim and the Shiite Muslim that's behind this. Need to be killed by the United States military. We done fought against these Shiite Muslims and these Sunni Muslims before, and we had to fight against them again. We already over there in Afghanistan fighting against the Muslims over there. So fighting against these Muslims ain't gonna be any different. So like I said on this video, that was something I wanted to take the time to go and about African traditional religion. African traditional religion, the people of Africa. You're dealing with groups of people that have been classified and identified, such as the Afro-Asiatic people. Being Afro-Asiatic people being the Berber. The Omatic people, the Chadic people, the Cushite people, the Semitic people, and your Egyptian people. And then you also have, when we deal with African traditional religion, we have to deal with groups of people that classified as the Nilo-Saharan people. And the Nilo-Saharan people being Luo, Kanuri, the Sunghay, the Tiso, your Nubians, your Lubare, Kalenjin, your Lango, your Dinka, your Acholi, your Maasai, your Ngambe, your Nu, your Fur, your Tubu, and then you have your, when it comes to African traditional religion, you have your, the Niger Congo, A and B groups of people. And people that are classified Niger Congo A and B, your quarter funnies, then you had your man deep speakers, your iJoy, and let me go back. Now your man deep speaker people are your Saniki, and and then your iJoy, and D5K, your Dogon, your Atlantic, which is Bono and Fule, your Crew, which is your BT, your Yahweh, and D-Day, your Senufo, and Sinari, and Supari, Suyiri, and then your Gert, your Adawame, with the Chambe, and your Manji, which is Sango, your Kwe, which is the Akan, your Botanizer, which is considered the West of Binu, Congo, then your GB language, which is Iwi, then you have your Yoruba and Igbo, which is your East Binu, Congo. Then you have your Bantu family, languages, your Swahili, your Fang, your Congo, your Zulu, and then there are many others that fall, they're considered to be Niger Congo and Bantu. And then we have and when we talk about African traditional religion, there are people that are identified or classified as Khoi and San, the Khoi San. Now these are these are groups of people, the Khoi and the San. Now when there are languages, there's some that are extinct, and then there are others that are moribund, that's Khoi and San. Trying to pronounce some of the Khoi and San languages, considered to be your click languages. What they call the click consonants. I know that I'm not, take time to become more proficient in that. When it comes to African traditional religion, the Khoi and the Sans had to be considered. So then you have your Austronesian. Then you have your Austronesian people that which is Malagasy, which is on the island of Madagascar. And Malagasy language, as you know, is considered a Polynesian, family language. So when it comes to African traditional religion, we have to make sure we identify everyone that's inhabiting the African continent or close by the African continent, and in our conversation and discussion of African traditional religion. what it is, it's an actual course. It's an actual African traditional religion course that I downloaded off the internet. And the title of this course is Theology of African Traditional Religion. That's what it is. I'm putting it up here so you can see it. That's what it is. It's African Theology of African Traditional Religion. And the course code is CTH 692. The course title, Theology of African Traditional Religion. The course developer, writer, Dr. Onyiranke Oledimo at the University of Ilorin in the Kewari State, that's in Nigeria. And the course coordinator, Reverend Dr. Jacob A. Owolabi, National Open University of Nigeria in Lagos. The program leader, Dr. O. A. Adewale, the National Open University of Nigeria, Victoria Island, Lagos. And they said the course material reviewer is the Reverend Fry, Dr. UCN Michael, National Open University of Nigeria, Victoria Island, Lagos. National Open University of Nigeria. And module 1, unit 1. Like I said, this is the actual course I downloaded. When I downloaded this, it took 108 sheets of paper. Yep. And page. No, excuse me. It was 105 sheets of paper. So when you download it, make sure you have you some paper. It's gonna take 105 sheets of paper. Well, let me see 100. No, because it's 108 sheets because the 3 front page and the 2 pages from the so that's 8. It's 108 because the actual course is 105, but you got the front, your front page and the 2 other pages with the address for the school and with the course developer and the course code. So it's a total of 108. But what I want to go over is a few things that I found in which is definition of African traditional religion. Okay, it says here in the main content 3 form of African traditional religion is the indigenous says African traditional religion is the indigenous religion of the Africans, which was handed down over from one generation to another by word of mouth until recent attempts at documentation. It said the title African traditional religion presents an assumed unitary portrait of the religions of the Africans, though it is true that many features of religion and its practice are similar across Africa. It would be erroneous to assume that all African religion is the same. Hence, it has been suggested that the right label for the religions of Africa is African religions or African indigenous religions to reflect the plurality within the continent's religious landscape. It says another suggestion to describe the religion of Africa has been African traditional religions, the emphasis being on the traditional aspect of the religion as opposed to other religions, which due to the process of contextualization are now construed as African religions too. An example is the reality of African Christianity and African Islam. It says here, okay, go to that. It says background to the various labels for African traditional religion. It said the study of African religion at the earliest attempt was not geared towards understanding the people's religious perspective, but rather the aim was to condemn the religion and advocate conversion to Christianity. Hence, the study of African traditional religion began on the premise that it was negative, devilish, inferior, and should be totally discarded. It said the study of the religion was marked by the use of foreign theoretical framework into which data was forced. It was therefore inevitable that misrepresentations and misinterpretations would occur. It said in the process, the Africans' identity and self-esteem were greatly disvalued, and the consequences are still with Africans today until about some decades ago when African scholars started writing on the true nature of African religion. The field of study was controlled by anthropologists, explorers, and investors who were non-indigenous from Europe and North America. Consequently, many porous labels were attached to African religion due to lack of knowledge on the true nature of the religion. In addition, these foreign writers were operating with the assumption that Western religion, Christianity, was superior to African religion in its entirety and that African religion should be discarded. Consequently, certain labels emerged in order to disparage the religion and render it unattractive. The following are a number of such labels. Primitive. Primitive. The word primitive is derived from the Latin word primus, which means first or ancient. A concise dictionary also defines primitive as something that is early, ancient, old-fashioned, simply rude, original, and primary. And the European scholars employed the term to mean the African continent is backward, crude, and underdeveloped. Adawu noted that this mentality sprang out of standardization, that anything which did not conform to Western cultural pattern could not be accepted as a standard norm by the Western scholars. Besides, the element of ancient is found in every culture and religion. These elements maintain themselves by the principle of continuity, and this continuity. Thus, it is unreasonable to be biased or prejudiced. Racial discrimination in the manner Western scholars did the African continent. Native. The word native denotes one is local, primitive, and traditional. This term was used by European scholars to derogatory describe African people as backward and underdeveloped. Tribe. Says here, the Pocket Oxford Dictionary defines tribe as a group of people in a primitive or barbarous stage of development, acknowledging the authority of a chief and regarding themselves as having a common ancestor. The Advanced Learners Dictionary of Current English also defines tribe as racial group or one united by language and customs, living as a community under tribes or groups of persons. Whatever may have been the original meaning of the word, there is no doubt that it has departed from anything decent and honorable, and has come to bear a dirty, ragged, and disreputable fragment of humanity. It says that the European scholars view Africa as an entity or a village consisting of people with diverse cultural identities. It is therefore wrong to apply the term to a group of people like the Africans, who are made up of different nationalities and are technologically advanced. The word savage. This is another derogatory term used by Western scholars to describe the African people and their religion. The word savage stands at the opposite end of the pole of civilized group of people. The Western scholars use this term to describe African people because of the contrast between African culture and their own. Through sheer prejudice, lack of sympathy, and understanding, they saw African culture and religious practices as technologically backward. Paganism. The word pagan comes from the Latin word pagamus, which means a village dweller or countryman. It also means a person living far away from the civilized community. When it was brought into the field of religion, pagan was a term used originally to describe a person who was not a Jew, Christian, or Muslim. Later on, the word acquired a derogatory connotation, especially as it was applied to Africans as people who have no religion. Polytheism said this is a belief, a pantheon of spirits. It is wrong to say that African people are pantheons because they believe in divinities and a supreme being. I don't explain that what is obtained in Africa is the diffuse monotheism or the existence of pantheon of divinities which are the deputy of Olodumare or the supreme deity. Fetishism. The word fetish comes from the Portuguese word fetico, which originally referred to any work of art or man-made religious object, such as talismans, charms, and amulets, discovered by the Portuguese on their voyages. Later on, the word was used derogatorily as a general theory of primitive religion, where external objects are animated by life similar to that of mankind. It was also used as a descriptive term for African traditional religion to mean that African people worship charms, talismans, and amulets. Idolatry. The word idolatry comes from the Greek term edolah, which means a pantheon image, likeness, or an image of God. The Advanced Learner's Dictionary defined it as an image of God or objects of worship of a false God. The European missionaries accused Africans of worshiping false gods, which were symbols and emblems representing spiritual beings. However, they failed to understand these images, shapes, and phantoms that are just cult objects or symbols of worship, and not the end in them. Besides, African religion is not the only religion with such symbols. Other religions of the world have such symbols of their own. It is therefore wrong to particularly conclude that African religion is idolatry, since the emblems, images, and symbols found in it are only used to symbolize or represent spiritual realities. Animism. The word animism comes from the Latin word anima, animal, which means soul. Animism is a belief that spirits inhabit natural objects with separate existence. Edward Tyler, who expounded the theory of animism, was the first to employ the term to connote the existence of souls and spiritual beings. The term was later used derogatorily on African people to describe their religion and to show that spirits inhabited African society. This is not correct, since such belief is found elsewhere, not only in Africa. The Jews, for instance, believed that Yahweh, their God, inhabited Mount Horeb, the mountain of God, and that he was present in the Ark of the Covenant. Muslims to venerate the sacred stone, the Kaaba, in Mecca, wherever they go for pilgrimage. Animism is therefore not a peculiar belief of African people, but also of Hinduism and Judaism, who believe in the presence of spirits, especially in animals. Anachronism. This is another derogatory term used by Western scholars and missionaries to describe African people and their religion. The foreign writers had the belief that African society is a chromic one, changed into meaninglessness and biblical traditions. This label holds no water because every society has the right to maintain some of her cherished traditions. Juju. The word juju comes from the French word juojo, and I'll spell it for the Juo, which means a little dog or a small trap made in the form of a human being. This term was later used by European investigators to describe African religion. It is wrong to say that Africans wear juju as toys, which do not symbolize anything religious or positive intentions. This wrong conception of African religion by Western scholars was as a result of African images and cultic emblems which, according to their understanding, symbolize spiritual beings. However, one important thing to note is that African magic and medicine are not juju, but an embodiment of a spiritual agent which aimed at achieving cultic powers. These derogatory terms used by early Western scholars, anthropologists, ethnographers, explorers, and missionaries who saw nothing good in Africa, but only the darkness of its continent, is a mispresentation of African identity. Their conclusion that African people have no idea of God is, however, a mere bias and prejudice. Heathenism. The word heathenism came into being as an analogy of the word pagan. It comes from the German root, the suffix en has the meaning belonging to. Heath, on the other hand, means the wasteland, removed from the outskirts of the town where outlaws and vagabonds and brigands live. Heathen then means a dweller on the heath. Heathenism as an adjective means the habit or the characteristics or the disposition of heath dwellers, as it is with its twin word paganism. Heathen, which was originally a sociological term, became an adjective to describe religion. It said that Microsoft and Carter Premium defines heathen as an offensive term that deliberately insults somebody who does not acknowledge the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, or an offensive term that deliberately insults somebody's way of life, degree of knowledge, or non-belief in religion. It has to be noted that the dictionary agrees that the word has come from the German language. Heathen is a word coined by racists that look down from an Olympian height of superiority upon other races. As it is with paganism, the name heathenism is the most unsuitable and obnoxious misnomer as far as the African indigenous religion is concerned. Ancestor worship. There are still other investigators who have defined African indigenous religion as ancestor worship. According to them, all the African people regard as spiritual beings were no more than deified ancestors. Like other terminologies, this term is not true of the African indigenous religion, though one cannot deny that the belief in ancestors is a strong element in African indigenous religion. It has to be stated that the ancestors are not worshipped but venerated, and veneration of ancestors is also not the monopoly of African indigenous religion. It says here, okay, I'm not gonna read everything because, like I said, it's 105. This is a course. This is an actual course. But I want to read that very beginning part. In fact, I'm gonna go back to this table of contents. Yeah, okay. I'm going back to the table of contents. Okay, it says, okay, module one, the creation Okay, no, the reason why I was going over the table of content. Okay, make sure I wasn't missing something. Okay, it says here. Okay, it says, okay, in the table of content, what I just read. Okay, at 3.1, that was the African traditional religion. Okay, that was the definition of African traditional religion. That was unit 1. Then unit 2, being a theology of African traditional religion. Then unit 3, the creation of African traditional religion. Then unit 4, the African concept of human being. Okay, that's unit 1. Okay, let's make sure I get up. Okay, 3.8. Make sure I don't get mixed up here. I'm still going, I'm trying to follow the table of contents. See, I just downloaded this today. Well, yesterday, Saturday. Excuse me. Read that. That's what I was looking for. Okay, that's what it is. Now, okay, what it is. See, this is module 1. This is module 1. And module 1 has 4 units. It has unit 1, a definition of African traditional religion. Unit 2, a theology of African traditional religion. Unit 3, creation in African traditional religion. And unit 4, the African concept of human being. So when I was going through it, I knew I was going to get to the unit, but the conclusion of each unit. And that's what I was looking for. Because at the conclusion references and further readings. It says here, which is 7.0, the references and further reading. It says, Awolelu J.O. Indo-Pengu, PA, 1979, West African Traditional Religion. Benjamin Ray, 2000, African Religion, Symbol, Ritual, and Community, 2nd edition. G.E. Kwame, 1996, African Cultural Values and Introduction. Mbidi, J.S., 1969, African Religions and Philosophy. Olupune, J.K., African Traditional Religion and Contemporary Society. This the references and further readings at the end of Unit 1. Then, like I said, Unit 1, which was this whole literary work here is Module 1. Like I said, I downloaded it yesterday, and it's 108 pages, and it's theology of African traditional religion. So each one of these units, you get to the end, you have these references and further readings. Says here, Unit 2 is the theology of African traditional religion. Says here, in the introduction, it says here, in this unit, we will study the theology of African traditional religion, including its scope, approaches, tasks, sources, and methodology. Say the theology of African traditional religion has proven to be dynamic and of constant relevance to the African worldview. Consequently, any attempt to interact with the African on any enterprise should accord serious attention to the theology of African traditional religion. It says here, what is the theology of African traditional religion? Say the word theology is etymologically derived from two Greek words, theos, God, and logos, word, reason. Theology then means reason about God, or the study about the nature of God. Oftentimes, the definition of theology is colored by the perspective of the religious affiliation of the person defining theology. Says for this course, we will work with a definition of theology as the study of God and of God's relationship with human beings. Consequently, the theology of African traditional religion is the African's way of understanding God and the dealings of God with him, her. The theology of African traditional religion is informed by the history and lived experience of the Africans from one generation to another. It said the people's experience of God influenced their understanding of God and the relevance of God to their experiences on a daily basis. here. Says here. Okay. I know I don't have time to read all this, but because all of you that's listening can, like I said, I downloaded it, and YouTube can download too. You know, cause it's, mm, says here in the references and further readings, Ewalelu J.O. and Dopemu PA, nice West African traditional religion, Blakely T.D. Religion in Africa. That void, the study of religions in Africa, past, present, and prospects. And Beatty J.S. 1969, African religions and philosophy. Unit 3 is the creation in African traditional religion. Said here in the introduction, it said creation is a phenomenon that has interested the African over the years and for which explanations have been offered based on the experiences of the African in the universe. Says in this unit, we shall examine the Creator God, the process, purpose, and care of creation. Said the interaction of created things in the universe will also be discussed. It says here in 3.1, it says God is the Creator in African traditional religion. It said Africans believe that the world was created by God through various variations. It said Africans believe that the world was created by God, though variations exist on how each group in Africa explains the modalities of creation. God is acknowledged as the creator by every narrative on creation by the Africans. That everything in the universe was put in place by God. Just as God controls and maintains the universe, Africans reflect their belief in God as the creator in the names and attributes that they ascribe to God. For instance, the Igbo of Nigeria call God Chiniki, which means the spirit that creates. The Edo call God Osunobue, meaning source, being, who carries and sustains the universe. And the Ashanti call God Odome Kome, Bori Bori, or Owaadi, or Boadi, which connotes one who creates all things. The Africans perceive God as the one who creates and is in charge of the affairs of the universe. Say God controls and sustains the operation of the world and is actively involved in the well-being of all created entities. Says here in the references and further readings, Ewalelu J.O. Dopemu PA, 1979, West African Traditional Religion. Benjamin Ray, 2000, African Religion, Symbols, Ritual, and Community. Embedded, John X, 1969, African Religion and Philosophy. here in Unit 4, the African concept of human being. The introduction says this unit will examine the concept of humanity from the perspective of African traditional living. You will be exposed to the makeup of human beings and their roles in the created order. The understanding of the African concept of humanity is important because in the African thought, human beings are situated at the very core of God's creation. It says here, okay, it says here, the human being in African traditional religion. It said the human person in African conception consists of male and female gender. The male gender refers to man, while the female gender connotes woman. Man has been defined variously by different scholars. Said the psalmist, for example, cried out, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" Said many philosophers over the years have continued to reflect on the question of which man is. And I know it's long. That's what I was, okay. Now, at the end of Module 1, the references, you know, just went through 3, Module 1 had 4 units. And at the end of Unit 4, the references and further reads, Ewolelu, J.O. Endo-Pemu, P.A. 1979, West African Traditional Religion. Benjamin Ray, 2000, African Religion, Symbol, Ritual, and Community. And Mugambi and K. Nicodemus, the African Religious Heritage. Now, that's what I want to make sure I didn't miss. Now, I just did Module 1. Now, Module 2, I'm not going to go on, just going to read you. That way you can go and download this course yourself. Now, Module 2, it has 5 units. Unit 1, Ethics in African Traditional Religion. Unit 2, Judgment in African Traditional Religion. Unit 3, Reincarnation in African Traditional Religion. Unit 4, Women in African Traditional Religion. Unit 5, Sin and Reward in African Traditional Religion. That's Module 2. And like I said, Module 2 has 5 units. And that's Module number 2. Module 3. This is Module 3. It has 5 units. Module 3. Unit 1, Eschatology in African Traditional Religion. Unit 2, the Human Agency in African Traditional Religion. Unit 3, Modernization in African Traditional Religion. Unit 4, the Contemporary Study of African Traditional Religion. Unit 5, African Traditional Religion and Other Religions. And that's module number 3. That's module number 3. Okay, that's what it was. It was 3 modules. So like I said, so again, make sure this is the actual course. Theology of African Traditional Religion. The Theology of African Traditional Religion. This is a course. And the course code is CTH 692. And the course title is Theology of African Traditional Religion. The course developer and writer, Dr. Oye Ronke Oledimo from the University of Ilorin. That's Ilorin in the Kiwari State. It's in Nigeria. And the course coordinator, Reverend Dr. Jacob A. Owolabi, National Open University of Nigeria in Lagos. The program leader is Dr. O.A. Adewale, National Open University of Nigeria, Victoria Island, Lagos. And the course material reviewer, Reverend Friar Dr. Yushi N. Michael, National Open University of Nigeria, Victoria Island, Lagos. And before I end this video, the last person that I just mentioned, in getting that in Gene Michael Yushi, the fundamentals of African religion. That's one book that he wrote. And another book that he wrote, Continuity and Change in Tiv, Concept of Death and Burial Rites. And again, that was Dr. That was Gene Michael Yushi. It's the same person that wrote the course material review. That's doctor. He's a doctor. Yushi and Michael. Those are two books that he wrote that I know of. So, like I say, I'm not going to go any further, but I wanted to make sure I informed everyone that I found this download. It's an actual course. And I went online and I downloaded it. And like I said, when you get ready to download, it's going to take 108 sheets of paper. So, be prepared. And again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live here in the city of Memphis, state of Tennessee, in the county sheriff. And again, I want to thank all my fans and my support for your continued encouragement and support. And I don't want none of my fans, my supporters, to have any doubts. I know that I continue to work on my entertainment, my music interest. And even today, I had time, I sat down and I started working on my music again. And because I had the time, I had the time. And for some reason, I had my lyrics in the wrong place. Because I had music and everything. For some reason, I put the music with the lyrics wrong. But irregardless, I don't throw none of my lyrics away. But I'm gonna be working on all my music because I'm not content with being here in this present state. And I'm trying to make sure I balance work and school. And by no means, I have no doubt, I'm working on my music. I'm finna finish with all my music and record my music and move on from there. But by no means am I just sitting around and not trying to get my entertainment, my music interest going the way I wanted to go. And that's what I wanted to inform all my I wanted to make sure I inform all my fans, my supporters, that I am working on my music, and that very soon, you will be hearing BrightShine music real soon, very soon. And until my next video, you take care of yourself, and I wish each and every one of you the best.